Long ago, in ancient Greece, there was a city unlike any other. It was called Sparta. Sparta focused solely on strength. Unlike other Greek cities rich in art and philosophy, Sparta shaped everything, from living to parenting, to create the toughest warriors ever. People feared them, admired them, and told stories about them that we still remember today. Sparta was a place where women were strong and independence was key. Weakness, no way. At just 7 years old, they left their homes and went into special schools called the agoge. But these were not schools of books and writing. These were schools of pain and toughness. The boys learned to fight, to wrestle, to run, and to survive with almost nothing. They were given little food, sometimes forced to steal just to eat, but if they were caught, they would be punished. The idea was not to make them cruel, but to make them clever, quick, and hard as stone. They grew up as warriors, trained to fight together, never backing down or giving up. But Spartans were not just about fighting. Their entire society was strange and different from the rest of Greece. For example, while women in many other Greek cities stayed at home, Spartan women had more power. They could own land, run estates, and were respected for their strength. They trained their bodies too, believing that strong women would give birth to strong children. Spartan women were famous for their boldness. They were said to tell their husbands before war, "Come back with your shield," or on it. That meant either return victorious or die with honor. Imagine how chilling and powerful that must have sounded. And then there was King Leonidas, perhaps the most famous Spartan of all. Leonidas was not just a king. He was the spirit of Sparta. His story became legendary during one of the most dramatic battles in history, the Battle of Thermopylae. Around 480 BC, a great storm of war was coming. King Xerxes led a massive Persian army, over 100,000 strong, to conquer Greece. Against such numbers, no city stood a chance. But the Greeks decided to fight, and Sparta was called upon to lead. Leonidas chose only 300 of his best warriors. Why so few? This was more than a battle. It was a bold stand against overwhelming enemies. At the narrow pass of Thermopylae, between steep mountains and the sea, Leonidas and his 300 Spartans stood side by side. They were not alone. Other Greeks joined them, but the heart of the defense was always the Spartans. Day after day, wave after wave, the Persians attacked. Yet the Spartans held their ground. Their shields locked together like a wall, their spears flashing like lightning. They fought with such discipline and such fearlessness that even the enormous Persian army could not break through. The Persians grew angry and desperate. They expected these few men to run, but Spartans never ran. They expected them to surrender, but Spartans never surrendered. For a moment, it seemed as if the impossible was happening, 300 men stopping an empire, but then betrayal came. A man named Ephialtes showed the Persians a secret path through the mountains. Using this, the Persians surrounded the Spartans. Leonidas knew what this meant. Escape was possible, but he did not want escape. He told most of the Greek allies to retreat, to save themselves for future battles. He and his 300 however, would stay. And so they did. They fought until their spears broke, then with swords, then with their bare hands. They fought until every last Spartan was dead. Leonidas himself fell, surrounded, refusing to bow. The Persians won the pass, but at a cost they could never forget. The story of the 300 spread across Greece like fire. It inspired the other cities to keep fighting. What made the Spartans so unforgettable was not just their battles, but their way of life. They were raised to believe that honor mattered more than life itself. The Spartans may be long gone, their city fallen, their empire dust. Their story still gives us chills. Whenever we hear of Leonidas and his 300, we remember that bravery is not about numbers, but about heart.